Two of my favorite friends, Leo Vader,
Hey.
Ben Reeves.
Second. I'm second favorite.
It's alphabetically,
okay.
if you don't think about it too hard.
The reverse.
Yes.
Hey, if you guys hate hearing our voices right now, you viewer,
Yeah?
this article on GameInformer.com, we've got no commentary gameplay, so you just gotta head to GameInformer.com.
Okay.
Or we could just make it super easy and not talk at all, but that's not the format for this
You
particular
gotta look
show.
at
Sorry, what are
the
we looking at?
analytics and just watch.
What is
Yeah.
this?
This is Diablo 4, everybody. Doesn't it look awesome?
It does.
And this
pretty.
is, in particular, the barbarian gameplay. Cork
Yes,
and
sir.
Leo, we all went and played this game for 2 days, basically.
It's true.
Yeah.
The Blizzard's headquarters in Irvine, California.
We got to play it a lot.
It was one of those days where you're like, you know what? This job isn't so bad.
Yep.
I stopped hating it.
Yes.
So we got Barbarian today, Sorceress, and Druid will be going up later this week. So keep an eye out for more content.
Now, Leo, this is your gameplay, correct?
Yes.
You should have pushed spacebar to evade attacks.
Oh, you'll see me do that probably once.
Really?
Yeah, don't worry.
You're not...
Once or twice.
Leo
there it was.
evader?
I like to evade into the fray
Ah.
and dash in. But what this build we had set up for Barbarian, it's the build people played with at BlizzCon, right?
And this is the BlizzCon demo, just to be clear.
It's the BlizzCon demo, but we didn't have to play with the timer on. We got to play for hours, which was awesome.
Yes.
But it's basically set up where you've got your primary here with dual one-handed melee. It's a axe and a hammer, I believe. And so you kind of hammer that with left click, and then the right click is that big directional attack in front of you. That is a
Yes.
different two-handed weapon that you can see on your back there. And you can have that be any weapon you want, right?
Exactly.
You can customize which skill uses which weapon, which
Yeah.
could lead to some interesting builds.
That's really neat, I think.
Yeah.
And Cork, you really grew to love the druid,
Yes.
which is not this.
Yeah,
But
so-
I really liked the barbarian. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate just like the feel of combat. It's very like this word's overused, but visceral. I would almost
Yeah.
swear that there's some kind of rumble on the mouse, just because like the hits feel so good. I feel like you kind of like feel them; they vibrate through you.
And the way this build specifically was set up of just hammering left click these fast melee attacks to build up fury to unleash a right click, which is way more damage on a bunch of people. That core second to second loop was very satisfying.
Yeah. What did you guys think of that like transitional animation? It was a big departure from Diablo's past.
Yeah.
Yeah, they started the demo with this, as you can see, because that was the very beginning of the demo.
Yeah. Thanks.
But I think that was intentional to be like, hey, you know what? We're going to have cutscenes like this. It's going to be a little bit different than previous Diablo games where we're going to get a little bit closer on the character and show their face, which is neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, look at that. A sweeping view of the landscape in Diablo?
Yes.
The hell is that? You know? It's cool.
Yeah.
This is an overworld map. This is part of the overworld, I should say. This is not randomly generated.
No,
Is where I was
Right.
going with that.
And it's a big contiguous open world.
Yeah.
Which is another big departure. Usually there's like nodes you could kind of warp to. It would have like a larger area, but it didn't necessarily flow into the next region.
Right.
Yeah, that's a huge change.
And this lady's a huge sad sack.
Yeah.
She's, oh, my son is sick and he's possessed by a demon or something.
And in this gameplay, we're showing this whole quest line. You won't necessarily see it again in the later gameplay.
Yes.
But here we're actually
So
seeing all
enjoy
the
it while
dialogue.
you got it.
Yeah.
Savor the emotion.
Light is so bright. It's blinding. Forgive me.
Easy now. Look here. Is this what you saw?
Yes.
So this is, if you're not following along, this is that lantern that we retrieved from the crypt earlier.
Right.
And he's been having visions about them.
A drowning cavern.
He's never said that before.
This is the only mainline quest in this demo. There are a few side quests as well,
Yes.
with
There's
a little
sea
bits of story
pit
around them.
north of town that floods when the tide comes in. But the whole coastline is crawling with the drowned.
But this region of the world is
send
called
my boy
Skazglen, and
I will go in
you're not going to believe this.
Stay here.
Inspired
and keep him
by
safe.
Scotland.
Ah.
Go, mother.
The name like Skazglen?
And those accents.
So,
Skipping ahead a little bit.
Boy with
quick transition.
Yep, just following the
the
story here.
showing me.
Yeah.
The fish just aren't coming in like they used to.
That's
now-
just a taste.
If you notice the sorcerer doing a lot of damage, that was me playing the sorcerer up here. Not to brag.
So
but-
usually there's not gold in a trail like that.
yeah, that was because the sorcerer was doing some work.
Exactly.
While I was enjoying the story.
Yeah.
So this is the drowned cave or caverns area, which is where the spooky boss is. I don't want to
Don't give it away, dude.
But it's a spooky boss.
Yeah. We also got to fight a world boss,
Yes.
which will be shown later in the month.
The lair of a creature that can feed the village for months. Are we strong enough to face it? We will see. Ready your weapon, boy.
So the coastline here is populated by a family of monsters called the Drowned. They're not necessarily like family in terms of them being related,
That
but
could
it's
be.
just like an archetype.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of different roles within that, so it's like a menagerie of grouping.
Yeah. They're all like, I think the idea is they're like sailors who drowned and then became these like evil undead spirits. Kinda
Exactly.
Like the walking zombie.
Yep. And here you see that you just picked up a chest piece with 2 slots on there and also 2 runes, which you're putting
It's completely
there. You've got a condition
We should
rune
find another way.
and then an effect rune. The condition rune in this demo is if you use a potion, then it activates the rune beneath it, which is increases your critical strike. Is it a percentage
Sure.
of it happening, I think, with the probability for a certain amount of time?
They always drop together in this demo, which is
Yes.
not going to happen in game.
Right. So the runes are coming back as like a physical object as opposed to in Diablo 3 where they were something that would modify like a skill that you would unlock.
Yeah, the conditional aspect of them is really interesting. They talk about that in the context of making specific builds.
Yeah.
Which I feel like there is a lot of potential there to be rewarded for focusing on a specific thing.
Yeah, they were saying some of the other like conditions are like if you open a chest, for instance, or if you deal a certain amount of damage within a period of time, those can trigger the effect runes. So you could just kind of think about like, oh yeah, a lot of cool possibilities.
Yeah. To talk more about the barbarian skill set here, you've seen that jump attack that's mapped to 2 there. Very satisfying.
That's a fun one.
Unknown-
That gets you right into battle too. You like leap forward and
Yeah.
attack things.
Or
It's
out of
great.
battle. Versatile move.
Yeah, I prefer to jump into battle because I'm courageous,
Right.
not a coward.
I just hit that number 1, which is like a rallying cry,
Uh-huh.
which kind of buffs everybody's speed,
Yes.
at the very least.
This is the boss.
This is the boss.
There she is.
I'm being supportive with what you just said, Reeves.
Yeah.
I don't know what people could possibly get
Yeah.
out of the no commentary version of this.
Yeah.
We're providing necessary
No.
context.
You can see there's a health meter on top. Underneath that is the stagger meter, which we will not fill up. But if we were to fill it up, the boss would enter kind of a stagger state, which leaves it vulnerable. It may change the way that it attacks or whatever. But
And that's based on if you're using free, like, cold attacks or stun attacks, anything that kind of builds up that.
like a crowd controlled type thing. It
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
deal a lot of damage.
And I believe we did this quest well into our gameplay demo, so we had already like gotten a lot of loot that leveled us up pretty high.
Yeah.
So that's why we normally I think that fight would take a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
we were well above.
We're just so strong.
That's right.
And that dropped that legendary Hellhammer, which is for upheaval, which we were talking about the right click, that directional in front of you.
Yes.
Ignites the ground.
Yeah.
It makes it an insta-kill for so many enemies.
It also has a really
became
cool
very
flame
useful.
effect.
Yeah. Even when you're not using it. Seeing it on your back. It's interesting how much we were able to progress in this small demo. It felt like there was still a lot of power growth in a short amount of time.
Oh
Yeah. Yeah, because there's
Definitely feel
one
the
of the side quests we went to. It's like a cave that had like right now I think we're level 20 and there are enemies that are level 25. And when we first started, they were very difficult. But I think near the end, once we'd kind of
What
geared up a little
What
more,
did
it
you
was
see?
still challenging, but
Boy
not
with
quite
the
as tough.
lantern showed me his fate. He was sacrificed to a drowned witch. She wanted your son next.
Aaron fell into a fitful sleep shortly after you left. Is it finally over?
Mother!
What's happening?
It hurts. I can't.
Aaron, look at me. Breathe.
I let it hang here in this gameplay, but the first time we did it, it's a funny thing about this type of game that this story moment right here is like, oh, this is a good time to sort through my loot.
Yeah.
Well, this boy's dying in front of me. I should probably get rid of what I don't need.
Check my pockets quick.
So
Yeah.
why you killed the witch that was sort of possessing him or something, and then he dies, right?
Right.
Like what?
Some kind of family
what happens
curse
there?
going on there.
Yeah.
Do you have a family curse, Reeves?
Yes. I could just get killed at any moment. You never.
Susceptible to death. Here we are in Domhain Tunnels, an optional area in the BlizzCon demo.
This is another monster family, the goat men. And you see like the shaman, he raises his staff and he's like kind of infecting his friends so that when they die, they leave like an AoE poison right where their corpse was.
Right. I'm in my ultimate mode here. Just got out of it. That transforms you into a super beast, it seems. You know, I didn't realize till we started recording this video how little specific names I knew.
Yeah. And I'm glad you learned them.
Yeah. And
beast.
the last skill we haven't talked about is on number 3 there. It's a big cutting attack. You see that I have that blunt two-handed and a two-handed sword as well. And that uses the two-handed sword to bleed enemies.
Yeah.
I think it attacks multiple enemies if they're standing kind of each other.
Right, it's like in a line,
I
yeah.
believe it's impale.
I think there's something too. If an enemy dies while they're bleeding, they do extra damage to enemies nearby or something like that.
Probably.
Indeed. But yeah, that alt attack with the right mouse button, I love that one too, where you just like dish up some dirt from the ground. It does a lot of good damage. Good spray damage.
Good spray.
I'm a little disappointed at how you can't really make out the druid's wolves. They're semi-translucent here, I guess, to keep you from targeting them in the middle of battle.
Right, yeah, only the druid sees them as...
But they're very cool. You're really going to like them, guys.
They do some good work.
The druid is a very interesting class.
By
It's
interesting, you mean
different now.
It's the best.
Yeah. It transforms 4 specific attacks and then automatically transforms back.
Yeah.
As you can see there.
So he's like a bear and a werewolf. And that's it that we saw.
Yeah, those are the only 3 forms they at least wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Human. Werewolf bear. Shamans are back. Reviving their buds.
Well, these goatmen aren't being revived. They're just getting poisoned.
Oh yeah, that's just a little tidbit for you.
But the shamans, like, they could do some damage too if you weren't paying attention, and like you'd notice hopefully eventually that, wait a minute, guys keep coming back, so look for the shaman who's resurrecting everybody. And I think they said at some point in the game there's the shaman who also resurrects shamans.
Yeah,
So
that was
it's
something
like
from Diablo 2. It was a
This
legendary
ultimate tier, yeah.
legendary shaman in this one. But most of them can't do that,
Correct.
which is nice.
Because we would still be in the dungeon.
Yeah. We would still be
Killing
at
the same
Blizzard
ones.
trying to finish this demo. Ooh, loot.
Yeah, this game has loot.
Oh, we should mention that, yeah. We hinted earlier with the world boss, there's kind of shared world where you'll see other players that you're not in a party with, which is interesting. And we talked to him in an interview about that's going up later this month about how they draw that line between this and a full MMO, you know, as they're introducing more stuff like that. And they definitely do see it as very distinct.
Which is interesting because I got the Destiny vibe a little bit from this. Because
Yeah.
you're out in the open world, you see other people, other players who aren't your friends sometimes. But it's definitely not like as populated as an MMO, like a proper MMO
Yeah.
or traditional MMO.
And
let's say.
dungeons, you won't see anybody still
Right.
if they're not in your party.
But you can be with your squad for sure and tackle everything.
Yeah. We're hot off of BlizzCon right now.
Super hot.
Super hot. They showed that announced cinematic we got to see a little early
Oh
at
my
the
gosh,
studio.
The thing looks so good.
That was a very cool cinematic. That was the most finished cinematic I've ever gotten the warning that this isn't finished before, you know. Guys, don't judge too harshly on this gorgeous thing.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think I'll know the difference once they actually show the finished version.
Yeah. Yeah, that cinematic's cool. And then you made the joke, Cork, that a year after that, everybody's just going to be farming her for boots.
Yeah, exactly.
But right now, everyone thinks Lilith is very cool, which she is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here's
a treasure goblin, yeah.
Yeah. And you can't really tell. He's not like in Diablo 3. He was like a giggling buffoon. You can see like Diablo 4 is a little more grounded,
A little bit darker.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a treasure goblin, but if you look at him, he's kind of has a different silhouette
He's a little bit
as he's
faster.
getting beaten to death by 3 people.
Yeah. Just pulverized.
Yeah.
Yeah, that darker tone. We can talk about that a bit.
I like it. I mean, you can see it here. Oh, we're just getting bombed by enemies. But I think it's got a good look, which I really like.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
was-
the more Diablo 2 inspired.
I was worried they might do like a closer zoomed in camera or something over the shoulder, but that top down traditional style.
Was that a rumor?
There was I think that was like a thing they had experimented with when they started 3 even.
Yeah. Like, how can we make this unplayable? I've got an idea.
I got some ideas.
Yeah. Ben Hansen, God rest him, made the good point that this is kind of what they were pitching with Immortal, too. Was back to Diablo 2 style
Right.
Yeah.
lore, which for some reason people weren't excited about.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense for them to take Diablo as a brand and make it stand out a bit more from their other stuff, a little less colorful. You know, it's its own aesthetic.
I do wonder if now that this is out and people can see it, if people will be more excited for Immortal. It's like, okay, you know what? One on my phone, I could also play that.
Yeah. I mean,
Now that I
honestly,
know this is also a thing, yeah.
it just depends if Immortal's good, right? It could surprise everyone and be good.
Didn't seem that bad when I played it.
Oh, you played it?
Yeah, last year when we were out for the cover story, we got a chance to check it out.
All right. These
Right.
treasure goblins are real pests.
We wanted to show a treasure goblin getting away. We
Yep.
wanted to see what that looked like,
Yeah.
which obviously would never happen.
Yep. There you go.
So that'll be the only time you see that.
Right.
Yeah. And now we're headed to Garen Hold, which is the one high level area. We're level 19. This dungeon is for about level 25.
Right.
And we'd asked while we were there, like, will you be able to, like, randomly, is there going to be a chance that the portal will remain open and you'll be able to go fight the aspect of greed and all that business? Or maybe will Whimsyshire be in the game? You know, and they're not answering those questions. But we
Oh.
did ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
cow level, and there's no cow level.
They were really cheeky about the cow level.
Waka waka.
Yeah. We can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
We couldn't customize skills or talents at all, which is too bad because you can see there's a lot going on here.
There's a lot of good stuff, though.
And obviously, crafting your own build is half the fun of the game. So I'm excited to actually be able to dig into those
And we
customizations.
should have a feature that's up too. A couple features just detailing all the skills and abilities from all 3 classes that we saw.
Yeah.
So check that out.
And it's interesting. I don't know if we really highlight it here, but the evasion move is more of like pulling back while staying on your feet. You're not rolling around like Link in Ocarina of Time,
Yeah.
smashing through things.
But like Link in Ocarina of Time, there's just enough cooldown on it that it's not a faster way to get around
Right.
than just running.
If
It's
only
more of
there was
just
a faster way to get around.
I always like that. Whenever you can just like roll dash all over the place.
Leo, is there a faster way to get around in Diablo 4?
Perfect setup for the horse. Glad you asked.
I always
Masterful.
liked it though.
Yeah, they got mounts now.
We did not see them, but I think in the one of the gameplay trailers they released with the announcement,
Right.
you do see the horse.
But we talked to them about them.
Yes, it's
they're
true.
they're more grounded. You know, you're not going to be driving around on a
Yeah.
motorcycle like
No.
WoW or whatever. They want it to be kind of medieval fantasy horses,
Right.
but with the fun of them is in item customization,
Right.
dressing them up and skills and
But
everything.
no unicorns.
No
or anything either.
unicorns.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right, Pegasi. They specifically said
Yeah.
no to that.
And they said that there'll be some kind of cool combat dismount, so you're not going to be fighting from
Yeah.
atop your mount.
You can also see that in the gameplay trailer. Again,
Yeah.
we didn't have the opportunity to do that, but each class would have their specific combat dismount.
I always liked Darksiders calling the horses out in that, like the first couple of games where the horses would just come up out of the ground. You could jump right on them.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully it's like, we didn't see them mounting the horse, but I hope it's something like that where it's pretty quick.
Yeah, they said at this point they run in from off screen,
Right.
but they're not final on any of that. They're not final on a lot of this.
No.
They're still very early on.
Which is kind of how Blizzard rolls. They're always kind of like pretty open about, at least when I've interacted with them, pretty open about like, yeah, this is still in development. It could change. Very experimental, which I think ultimately makes the game better.
Yeah, for sure. We've been seeing lightning storms. That's a druid thing. That's their alt. These little lightning traps. That's a piece of loot that I have on the barbarian.
Yeah.
That's kind of spawns them randomly as I'm fighting. I almost got him with that one.
Yeah, these are the level 25 enemies that I was talking about.
The other thing about that impale move is that when it kills somebody, it resets the cooldown immediately. So it's good to use on little grunts.
Yes.
That it'll one hit.
And that chandelier looks like it is perfectly placed to fall down and kill a bunch of enemies. They're still experimenting with traps. They weren't in this build. I think there's some environmental damage that does look a lot like those wall-based traps that you would have seen in Diablo 3. But
Right.
If there's a hitman class,
yes.
that will handle those, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All about costumes.
Right.
Yeah, and on that subject, there are the three classes that we did see. They said that the game will ship with 5, but they're not talking about those. So let your imaginations run wild.
And you can transmog items and stuff like that. They didn't show us that, but that's in the game. The cool thing is the random. This is a random level, randomly generated, and I feel like the random generation is pretty good at this point.
I don't think
where
you'd guess
doesn't
it if you didn't
feel
know.
Random, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Garen Hold here was probably my favorite thing we did in our gameplay across each class. It was challenging in a way that was very satisfying.
Yeah, fun.
You have to actually keep an eye on your health and each other and the shamans, since they're all over this place.
Yeah, these shaman are the ones that will resurrect.
Yeah, the fallen shamans.
Friends, the fallen. Which we went to, like, Reeves, you and I both went back to Diablo 2 independently and played a little, and I had completely forgotten about the fallen resing their friends. So, like, the first time that I killed somebody and then they, like, pop back up, it took me a minute. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, because that was in 3.
You're dead.
Which I go back and forth. I'm like, I kind of like it from a gameplay perspective, because it makes you think, like, well, okay, I got to have some strategy on the battlefield.
Right.
I got to take this guy out before I take these guys out. But it is, in the moment, it's kind of annoying. You're like, no, stop resurrecting these guys.
I don't think they put it in there for you to like it.
No.
Necessarily.
Yeah.
But I think, even though you hate it in the moment, like, I think ultimately it adds to the fun. Like, you walk away from battle having enjoyed it more because you felt more engaged.
Yeah.
And they did say that they want to kind of think about that too, with the families of monsters, like how they engage you and how they might require some creative thinking about how you approach different strategies to combat.
Yeah. Something really interesting that they said in the interview was that Diablo is content multiplied by systems. And I think that's a fun way to look at it. And when they're building it from that perspective of they have the content of this open world, all the dungeons within, and then all of these different varied ways that you can build your character.
Yeah.
They're building it to last a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, 3 lasted a while, so...
It still lasted.
And it's still around.
It's lasting right now.
It's still here. It's lasting.
You can last it when you're done watching this video.
That's right. Yeah.
I did walk away from our time with this, so I was like, man, I want to keep playing this version of it.
Yeah, totally. And it was hard to reset and give up our characters to try the other classes, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I've already become attached to this.
Especially when you play as the druid.
Something else interesting they talked about is the de-emphasis on sets, which are a big thing in Diablo 3. More about specific legendary items, or mythic items, new rarity.